Hello, everyone, and welcome to PowerCon 2020. This is the final panel of the day. I'm Adam Bradford, VP of Tabletop for Fandom and the executive producer and a designer for the upcoming Masters of the Universe role-playing game that is being announced today called Legends of Grayskull. We're not going to bury the lead any longer. We're going to just roll the trailer right now.
Explore the secrets of Castle Grayskull. Discover fabulous secret powers. And create your own legend with friends. To become masters of the universe. You have the power!
Seconds, we're going to come back. Zoom and then just Cam and Adam. 3, 2.
All right, so you can sign up for updates right now at legendsofgrayskull.com. There will be a public playtesting period for the game ahead of the release, so sign up to be sure that you know when that's going to happen and you can jump in and actually get your hands on the game when that time comes. We'll keep everyone posted. I'm joined now with Cam Banks, who is actually coming to us from the future on the other side of the planet in beautiful New Zealand. And he is our lead designer for Legends of Grayskull and the creative director for Cortex at Fandom. How are you doing, Cam? I think you're doing silently and possibly.
I'm good. No, it's a wonderful sunny morning on Sunday here in New Zealand, and I'm really glad to be here with everybody else and looking forward to a really great panel.
All right, Cam, I know that we have gone through this at least a million times in the last few months, but me and Masters of the Universe go way back. My very first action figures as a kid were He-Man and Skeletor. I cannot remember at this point which one I opened from the packaging first, but I got them both for Christmas when I was 3 years old, and I've been a Masters of the Universe fan ever since. I've kept up with everything that's always been going on with the franchise, and I really do think that it is my first fandom. So this is a literal dream come true to be able to work on this game. If people out there maybe don't know what a tabletop role-playing game is, if people haven't maybe played Dungeons and Dragons, can you give us a little bit of a rundown on what a TRPG is?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a shared storytelling in a way, right? It's like, let's pretend, but we use dice to figure out whether someone can do a thing or not, as opposed to arguing about it. It is a great way to really get involved in the universe, especially with Masters of the Universe, because you get to create your own character. You get to make decisions for your character. You get to decide what awesome things you do, and you react to the villains and the fiends and foes that are coming along that I get to put out there, or whoever is the narrator, and really have a good time. The ending is not already prefixed. We don't know what's going to happen. We just play to find out.
Outstanding. So you have been working with Cortex, which is the rules system behind Legends of Grayskull, for many, many years. We won't say how many years, but many, many years. And we're really excited to bring this game to life using Cortex. What is it about Cortex that people can really latch onto out there that makes it perfect for bringing this world to life?
So the Cortex system is a little bit like, I guess you could say, like modular, right? So it's got all pieces you can put together in different shapes. In this case, we've put together the kinds of things we think would really make it interesting to tell a story in this universe. And for people who've played TTRPGs before, obviously, there's dice, there's character sheets, and there's a GM and so on. But with Cortex, what we love about this game is that it really does emphasize that storytelling aspect without taking away any of the fun of getting your dice together and rolling them and having a good time with that. So I think it's one of those really interesting things about role-playing games in general, is that you get to make these awesome narrative decisions. And with Cortex, we always go straight for the property that we're working on. In this case, really just bringing that universe to life for the players.
So can you tell us a little more detail about, I know that Cortex uses traits as the building block for everything. So what are some of the traits that are going to be used to bring these Masters of the Universe characters to life?
Okay, we really wanted to get into this idea of mastery. We think that each of these characters is super good at one thing, but they're also very kind of interesting because they have a range of experience in different areas of this universe. So we have affinities, which are 7 traits, and each of them tells you just how good or how bad you're going to be in a certain kind of area. So a good example will be machines, magic, might, and mobility, and they're all M words, which makes it really fun to rattle them all off. But so He-Man's going to have a really high score in might, and Skeletor has magic. The scores themselves, these traits, are rated with dice instead of numbers. So those are the dice you get to put together in your pool when you're rolling your actions.
All right, so let's, we only have a little while with some special guests today. So before we get into that though, I want to let everyone out there know, if you're in the Zoom for the panel, you can use the Q&A section. So if you hover over the screen, you're going to see Q&A pop up. I see several of you are already using chat, but we're going to use the Q&A section there to collect questions all along the way. If you're watching on Twitch, you can also ask questions. Just preface that with the word question, where our moderators can collect all of those. And once we play through an actual demo of the game, we can then, at the end of this, Cam and I are going to hang around and answer questions as long as they're coming in, or an hour, however, whichever one of those comes first. So we'll see how that goes, but feel free to ask questions in that Q&A section now, or in Twitch chat with question in front of it. And before we introduce our special guest today, in the recent comic series for Masters of the Universe, so when we were being introduced to the idea of a Lino and He-Man, becoming allies moment, we actually saw that in the bowels of Castle Grayskull, there's something called the Nexus of All Realities. And this actually opens doors and portals to other Eternias out there and other versions of some of our favorite characters. And so this idea of, and especially in the most recent comic series, Masters of the Multiverse, we see that there are these many worlds and these many types of characters out there. There are other people out there that have discovered the power of Grayskull, and they're wielding that for good or for evil. And this role-playing game really ties into that, and that is a really important concept, that this game can capture any flavor of Masters of the Universe that you want it to. You can go with existing classic characters and play in a Saturday morning 80s style cartoon mode if that's what you want to do, or you can do something different and new and customized from there. And so we do have some special guests with us today, and we can pull them in now. And just keep in mind that this is a multiverse, and that the characters being featured here today are coming from other Eternias, and they have in some way, shape, form, or fashion discovered the power of Grayskull on their own worlds, and they're about to be called together for a very dire situation that only we can save, and only that we can turn around. And so I'm going to let you introduce yourselves and introduce your characters for everybody today. Let's start with Felicia.
Hello, I'm Felicia Day. I'm an actor, writer, and producer. You might recognize me mostly from Supernatural. I also do a lot of web content with the Guild, my old company, Gig and Sundry, all of that. So you probably see me somewhere, maybe. Who knows? I'm really excited to be here. My first crush was on He-Man and Prince Valiant. I think I just, from that weird comic. So I have a thing for guys in Page Boy haircuts. I should have said that publicly. And I'm playing a character named Festina. I'm so excited to get to create a character for this. So Festina is, her ability is heroic. She's basically the heroic master of brawling. She's very unrefined and uncouth. Festina was raised away from the cities and is easily dazzled by simple things of civilization. She has trained with Fisto, her second cousin twice removed, extensively, and is a skilled brawler, always ready to leap into action with her fists or her feet.
Sounds great. What about you, Phil?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Phil LaMarr, and unlike Felicia, who you know if you are on the internet at all, for me, you need a TV. I was on Mad TV and done voices for some pretty good cartoons, Futurama, the Justice League, and Samurai Jack. But today, I am Hypernus, heroic master of speed. Once a trusted friend of King Grayskull in Preternia, Hylonus was magically displaced through time and space to another Eternia's dark future. There, I discovered the power of a Grayskull and became Hypernus, a fast-talking and courageous protector with super speed and stamina. So I'm like, he Flash.
That's great. And what about you, Tiffany?
Hey everybody, I'm Tiffany Smith. I mean, there's a couple things you might know me from. I'm kind of in the geek space. I hosted for a long time for DC Daily and DC Universe. I did some stuff with G4, and most recently, I played Meghan Markle in a movie. But I'm so excited to be here because I am lucky enough to be a part of the new animated series that is coming to Netflix, Masters of the Universe Revelation, and I am playing Andra, and I'm so pumped. I'm super bummed that we can't actually be at PowerCon physically right now, but this is pretty epic to get to do this. So today I am playing Electrixie. She is amazing. I think you can see from the photo that she is blue skin, so she is a Gar. So in Eternia, some people are a little hesitant in trusting her because she may have helped to terrorize Eternia for a while. But now she's on the side of good, I think. She's a little sarcastic and sassy, and her weapon of choice is the Thunder Surge staff, which I'm so excited to use, and you can see from her pictures, obviously. It's electricity. She's a little volatile to go along with that electricity, so let's see what happens.
All right. And I have already introduced myself, but I am playing a character today who is actually a beast man from another Eternia that finally got fed up with all the bullying and abuse from Skeletor. And once he rebelled against Skeletor, he ended up going to Castle Grayskull and discovering that. And he discovered the power of Grayskull for himself. And he became He-Beast, the heroic savage champion. So he is also here today, and I'm going to turn it over at this point to Cam Banks, who is going to be our narrator today and who is going to take us on a whirlwind adventure. Take it away, Cam.
Thanks, Adam. Oh, I hope it's going to be a whirlwind adventure because there's not a lot of other good stuff you can be doing in this. The basic setup we're going to have here is that we've got the Nexus of all realities. This is deep inside Castle Grayskull. The sorceress of this Eternia has reached out across the multiverse and contacted all four of you. You had her appear in a vision, and she came to you wherever you were doing, whatever you were doing at the time, and said that she had managed to break through the multiversal barriers to reach out and get your assistance. On her Eternia, He-Man and the other Masters of the Universe have been trapped behind a wall of magical force. And this gave Skeletor the ability to get into Castle Grayskull and pierce the Nexus of all realities, which is where he is now. So, unable to get the help of the others that she would otherwise get, she has unfortunately had to settle for the four of you. Now, that's not a slight against you, of course. On your Eternities, you are wonderful heroes. But you will have to see if you can challenge Skeletor and foil his plan today together as a group. So, briefly, before we take you to the scene, just want to make you aware that this is going to be something we will take turns doing. If I ask you for what you want to do, you just go ahead and just have a good time letting me know what you want to attempt. And I will first set the scene by saying that the Nexus of all realities to you as you appear on this rock covered in scrub grass and small bushes and trees. It looks like it's a chunk of countryside that's just been torn free, like like an invisible hand has just grabbed it out of one world and planted it here. All around you is this vast space, this chamber. It goes on for as far as you can see, and floating in it are other rocks and pieces of worlds that have just been pulled and torn out of the multiverse and brought here. The four of you are on the same place. You've been brought through this portal, but you can see that there are multiple kind of sections. Like one place you can see a part of a castle battlement. Another area is a section of lava with it spilling out over the edge. And these all float around at certain distances around you. The most striking aspect of this room, however, is up above you and to some great distance is another floating rock with huge stalactites coming down from it. And on it, you can see a figure has been trapped in some kind of force cage, mystical energy around him. It is the unmistakable figure of Zodak, who some of you have met, some of you have not. He is a cosmic enforcer and an agent of neutrality to try and balance the universe. He has been held here against his will by the other figure, who you can see, which is a cackling, skull-faced individual known to all of you as Skeletor. He is flying in the space. You can recognize him with his Havoc staff, as he always has it, but for some reason he looks more powerful, maybe more energized than he otherwise would be in your previous encounters. Now, this is a Skeletor from this world, as you're aware, because you've all had your own encounters with him. You don't really know the full capacity of his ability, but in any universe that he is in, he is the Lord of Destruction and someone you cannot mess with. The only other thing I will tell you is that there are two smaller sections of this space that are floating nearby, and on them you can see what look like machines, pylons, like towers that you would otherwise see in a more futuristic era, and upon each of those is a huge globe. So these two pylons are on either side of this trap, this force cage that Zodak has kept in, and every once in a while, big strokes of lightning come out of those things and into that cage, and from there into Skeletor, who receives them with cackling glee. So,
Are we hidden from Skeletor at this point, or he see us?
it doesn't appear as if he is paying a whole lot of attention, because he is currently in the throes of receiving power from Zodak and this cosmic energy machine that he has assembled here. The great danger is if he does something to gain control over this nexus where you are now at, it is very likely he will reach out into the other worlds of Eternia and achieve domination. That is the last thing you would want.
So
I want to punch
Skeletor
something. I want to punch something.
He's flying right now, though. Is there any way to get directly to him, or what is between us and Skeletor at the moment?
Well, there is the vast chasms of void, which is probably not something you want to just jump into. However, there are smaller rocks and smaller pieces of other realities floating around, which you might be able to reach on the way to getting up to where he is at. He doesn't seem attached to anything. He's just floating around like some minor god, bringing in lightning and forces from everywhere. And as I said, extremely unaware that you have arrived. The sorceress has done her job well. She's portaled you in here, and you have the element of surprise for the moment.
How many floating chunks are there between us and the nearest one of the pylons with the globe on top?
Yeah, so maybe you can see them floating around. Some of them at quite a fast speed, like asteroids almost, right? Getting to the nearest one, wouldn't be hard if you just jumped to it, but anyone else would normally have a problem because if they jump in it would fly around and you'd miss the chance to jump to the next one. It's the kind of thing you may be wanting to do if you had, I don't know, super speed.
Super speed.
So I feel like this is Electricity's like perfect setup because there's lightning. she actually has a power that equips her to fly.
Mhm.
So
Ah.
is it a possibility that she can try and zap one of those globes, flying over and doing it without Skeletor even realizing that they're there until she's already up at the globe using her thunder staff?
So there's a very good chance that can happen. So the way we do this, we want to manage what all of you are doing and have you take your turn. Let's start actually with Phil, because you were the one who first brokered the idea of going up to these things. And then Phil, if you want, you can then take, once you finish your turn doing what you want to do, you can pick Tiffany to go next. So, and then after that, Tiffany, you can also choose someone else. Now, you should be aware that there may be other forces in this room, other minions perhaps of Skeletor, that will reveal themselves if you are not careful.
Okay. First thing I want to do, well, I want to start getting towards one of the pylons. So I'm going to jump to the nearest chunk that's floating towards Skeletor and his nexus.
Okay. So, Hypernus, you have super speed as one of your abilities. And
do.
we'll make this just a basic action, be very easy for you to do because you are so quick. And that means we want to sort of use the rules here, and we'll use a dice roll and have you gather a dice pool together. And I can talk you through that if you'd like.
Okay.
So there we have the, through the assistance of our digital technology, we have your character file for Hypernus.
Right.
And what you'll do first is choose an affinity, one of those 7 stats I told you about earlier, that you think is the most appropriate for this action that you're taking.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say mobility.
Very good. So that gets chosen. That goes into the dice pool. You can imagine you're getting them together in your hand and taking one from each of these different sections of the character sheet.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Next one,
I know
the
about
next
that.
one is which of those 3 distinctions, which are kind of like the 3 things that make you who you are, which of those is the most appropriate for this?
Heroic Master of Speed.
Perfect.
Got
So that's
to.
another dice into your pool. And lastly, do you have, well, we have 2 more things we could look at, but first, is there an ability which applies here? And I think you've already mentioned it.
Yes, my super speed.
Excellent. I don't believe that either of your assets probably applies at this stage.
Only if something goes terribly wrong. But at this point, I'm good.
All right, excellent. So with those dice in your pool, it's time to actually roll your dice.
Okay. Ooh, look at them roll. I've got a total of 14 and a 7 on my effect.
All right, a 14 is great. Your effect die, all we care about is the actual die size, not the number once we assign it.
It's a D8.
Awesome, that's fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and react with my Havoc pool. This is my pool of dice, which I get to roll for your opposition, and it is kind of the ambient threat and problematic aspects of the universe at the moment. It is the kind of thing that Skeletor draws on as opposed to what you are drawing on.
Right.
With your power. I'll just roll
The
that.
dark side.
Indeed.
The death side.
Well, now, I start the game with 4 6-sided dice in my Havoc pool because there's 4 of you. And you each have 1 6-sided die in your power pool. You get more of those by various things, which we'll get to. But for right now, let's see. And I rolled an 11, which I did not beat your 14. Yes. You successfully achieved this feat. Now, I'll let you describe it, actually, if you like, Phil. With that action, you can get across as many of these things to the point where you're at that pylon. Is there anything cool about the way you do it?
Of course. I'm Hypernus. There's something cool about everything I do. I leap with my hair blowing in the wind, and I bounce like a a flat rock on the surface of water. I jump from one to the next to the one where the nearest pylon is.
All right. Now, you can even race up the side of the pylon if you want to, but there is energy and dark purple lightning cracking all around it. Looks like it could be dangerous. So for the moment, we'll leave you there where you're at the place where the pylon is, and we'll move to whoever wants to go next. Well, who you choose to go next, because that's how we do the turn order.
Okay. Well, and also I just want to say I'm standing on the side of the pylon opposite Skeletor.
Oh, good.
And I choose Tiffany to go next.
Okay, so Electrixie is watching all of this go down, and she's like, I got this. So I would like to use magic, I believe.
Okay. Well, first of all,
yes.
how about, what is it you're trying to do so we can figure out which dice you want to use?
So I want to get up to the pylon as close as I can and channel some electricity and try and shatter one of the globes at the top so that we can free our friend in the middle and take the power away from Skeletor.
Awesome. Okay. So that's, yeah. So magic is your first die.
And then I think it would be Heroic Master of Electricity would be my distinction that I will use.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my abilities, I want to use... I have Electric Blast and Electrokinesis, and both of them help me to control electricity. Electric Blast to threaten, scare, injure an opponent. Ooh. I think I'm going to go with which one would be better in this situation? I think Electrokinesis.
Yeah, because you're trying to kind of overload it, aren't you, really,
Yeah.
as opposed to just send lightning into it?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go with Electrokinesis. And then I do have assets that work with these. Do I need to fly to get there?
We're assuming that you can fly anyway, because you've got that ability to use it at any time.
Okay.
You would use the amulet when you want to do something where flying was a really big part of what you're doing, but in this case, you're just moving.
Okay.
You have that ability to move. Yeah.
So then I'll stick with my Thunder Surge staff then.
Awesome. Sounds great.
And now I'm ready to roll. See what happens. What did I get? Oh no. I rolled
You got a hitch?
a 9
Oh, yeah.
as the total?
So your total was 9. Did you roll a hitch, which is a 1 on any of the dice?
I have a 5 and a 4.
Okay. What about the other numbers?
Yes, it does. It says hitch. I have 1 hitch.
Oh, yes. Excellent.
Ooh. Guys, she's too confident. She's just too confident.
So what that
Just
means,
like a Gar.
it is quite good for you, though, because I get to give you a power die for your little hitch here. The way this works is you did something that wasn't probably what you intended to do, and something got in the way or complicated it. So I'm going to hand over a power die, which you can put into your power pool. So now you should have 2 dice in there, 2d6. However, because I do that, I can activate that and create a complication, which is the things that get in your way. And I think that you're getting a little bit mad that you didn't quite do this the way you wanted to, because you know how great you are. But for some reason, you directed your staff at this and you're zapping it and doing whatever. And there's weird feedback coming from it. It's not quite electricity. It's something quite different. I'm going to roll my dice too and see if I can stop you from doing it. But even if you do succeed, there's going to be this feeling of, I'm mad. So I'm going to give you a D6 complication under angry. You see that on the sheet where you can add that?
Oof.
Do I say modify complications?
That's it.
Yep, I think that's what you can do.
And what am I doing on that one? Sorry.
You're putting up to D6, I think.
Ouch.
Here we go.
Cool. Okay.
Now, the reason that's kind of a problem is that whenever you try to do something where you being angry is going to present a problem to you, then I get to roll it in my pool in opposition to you.
Well, this is where being volatile is not an asset, guys.
All right, so I'm going to roll my dice and see if I can beat you. And let's give that a go. Do-do-do. Yes, I do beat... Oh, no, I didn't. I got 9. So in order for that to work, I have to be able to roll higher than you, and I did not. 9 is not higher.
Yes.
Yes.
If I was going to be a
Wow.
GM right now, I could probably spend one of my Herrick dice and add another of the dice that I'd rolled into my total. But I don't want to do that right now. I think it's more interesting that you've just taken a bit of a dig to your angry nature instead. So you succeed in doing something to this. It's pulsing away and doesn't seem to be very much as active as it was. But like I said, that feedback is not working out. So now we've got this situation where you're flying around, but your staff is wrestling back and forth with your pure blue lightning and this purple dark lightning back and forth with it. It's not destroyed yet. You think that you need to do some other stuff to complete this action, but you have made headway.
Okay. Now I'm just pissed.
So who do you choose to go next?
I can do more stuff. I can do a whole nother action.
No, you can choose someone else to go
Oh.
because you had your turn, yeah.
Okay, I will pass it on to Felicia.
Oh yeah. So I'm watching my party, Hypernus and Trixie, go after the, I assume like right pylon or one pylon, right? They're both at the other
It's
pylon?
one each.
Okay, and that's the one that Skeletor is not at?
He's not at either of them. He's flying around this.
Oh, he's
central
flying around.
area. Yeah.
So I'm going to be a hero because Festina is all about being a hero. And I'm going to fly. So I have size like 15 men's feet. So Festina is really talented at leaping. So what I would like to do is a heroic leap with my huge, and I do have some like very, I have moss, like I lived in a cave. So I have like, sort of like a moss and cork, kind of like, those 5-finger things for Eternia. So I have very mobile shoes on right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leap over to the other pylon and just punch it with one of my fist weapons. I wear 2 fist weapons. One is salt and one is pepper. Okay. And so I'm going to scream, push it. And I'm going to leap as far as I can to smash that other pylon with salt, because salt is an aggro, and then the peppa is the healing one. So I want to. So what I'm going to do? So I want to ask you: should I use might, because I am using a lot of effort to leap this far, or do I use mobility? That would be my question to you.
Let's just one moment. I want to double check on something because we were talking about pylons. Hypernus ran to one of them, and I'm assuming that Trixie took the other one. And so there's 2 pylons.
Oh, okay. I thought they took the same one.
No, but you can choose either one of them to smash because teaming up is a fantastic.
I saw that electricity whiffed it a little bit, and like at first I did not like her. Like she was super snotty and like wanted a real bed and stuff, and like complained about the food. And I'm like, I eat rats. So we had a lot of clash, but our backstory is that we became BFFs. So I'm like, I'm going to try to help her save some face. Also, Hypernus is like, he really thinks highly of himself, and there's a lot of tension between us. This is a lot of backstory. Anyway, I'm going to go and I'm going to save electricity. So that's the one I want to go to.
All right. Sounds great.
Okay. So I guess I'll use, so my question was might or mobility.
I think might is perfect because you're trying to smash it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's my better die. So then
Exactly.
I'm going to go leap into action because that's a leap. So I'm going to do D8 on that. And then I have an ability of leaping. and she can leap unusually far and high and far with her unusually large feet. So we're definitely going to do that.
Yep.
And I think I need to use my fist weapon, correct? Because I'm going to
Correct.
punch. Great. And could I use, can I use a power, I guess
can use
using
a
my
power
ground
die.
pound. Yeah, I was wondering if I should use a power die. I can use my power die on my fist weapon, my hefty haymaker on my salt. And that could actually add a little bit of chaos when I punch.
Yeah, and it gives me a havoc die. I love it.
Okay, great. All right, so I guess I'll spend. So then I go over here and I spend that power die.
Yeah,
So
you
I
move
had
that.
great. I remove that one, and then now I'm going to roll, and I have a total of 4d8 that I'm rolling. Oh, it looks like I did very well. I did a total. Well, okay, I did a total of 10, and my effect was d8. So, and I have no hitches, so that's actually pretty good.
Now your D8 is going to be stepped up to D10 because of what you did with the havoc die with the hefty haymaker, correct?
Oh yes, that's right. Okay, great. So I definitely did a good job.
All right, now
If I
I'm going to
win.
take my dice. So the good news is for me.
10 is not great, but
The good news for me is I have 5 dice now because you gave me one.
oh no. Vicina doesn't plan well. She's not a smart person, but she has a lot of grit.
And the skeleton doesn't
under
realize
her
it.
toes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Her toenails.
I like it that way. Who trims their toenails?
Oh no. Okay. Wow, I did really badly. So
Yes.
Yay!
I got 2 ones. So I've created 2 opportunities for you. I got a 6 as my total.
Yes, you suck. I'm sorry. That's not very gamesmanlike.
Now, what you can do with when I roll these things, but the problem is you don't have any power dice left because you spent them.
I know. Well, I only had one. You should have given me 2.
Oh, well, you know,
You should have given me more.
Yeah, what
there was
is
a
it?
break. I'm going to allow Tiffany, however, Electrixie has power dice remaining, 1 power die, I think.
Oh, you can give that to me.
No, she can activate it instead of
she
you.
could
because
do
if
it.
you can't, it goes to somebody else.
Okay.
Now, if that happens, what she does is she gives me, she spends her die, and it goes into the table, and I don't get it. I'm not that well off by that. But what it does mean is you can create an asset, a new asset, which you can use, and you can name it whatever you like. It could be super helpful BFF, for example, and whenever Electrixie wants to do something, if it's useful for that thing to be used in her dice pool, she can add it.
Yay! Well, that's good. I like that.
And in this case, because I rolled 2 ones, instead of just getting a D6 asset, you get a D8 asset. So it's almost as good as everything else you've got. So this whole relationship you've got now with your helpful, diminutive friend here, Tiffany, is going to be paying dividends for you later. So if you want, we'll have to make sure we remember that there's a D8 asset for that one. And then we'll see if I can roll. No, I can't roll. I've completely failed. So, yes. So describe to me, Felicia, when you strike this thing with your D10, which is enough to do a lot of damage to it, it's going to be taken out.
Okay,
How does
right.
that look to everybody else?
So imagine my flowing, dirty, matted hair, because I do not comb it, okay? It's better with twigs and sticks in it. If you need a snack, you can always get an acorn out of my locks. And I just go, push it! And I run, I'm leaping, and literally I'm leaving like almost T-Rex size prints in the ground as I leap over all these flying rocks, and I go, "Rah!" And it literally, everything shatters. I get some glass in my hair, which is great because maybe later I can use those shards for something. And as I'm leaping, I go, cover your eyes, Trixie, because I don't want her to be blinded, because that seems like something what would happen, and I am considerate. Okay, so that's what happens, and everything just sparks fly everywhere, and I'm backlit in a weird way, which is odd because it's right in front of me, but it looks cool.
Very Michael Bay.
Very, very.
Amazing. Now, I will tell you, before this point, you hadn't really attracted the attention of Skeletor, but exploding this enormous pylon globe here and all that yelling really did. it did make him aware of your presence. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Felicia, who are you going to choose to go next? Now, remember, you can choose Skeletor to go next if you'd like, because
I'm going to choose you. Yes, because I don't want you to go last.
No, I'll just go again twice. It'll
Yeah,
be great.
that would be something that would be undesirable. So no.
All right, so
He
a
beast.
huge explosion of glass and
Oh
lightning.
yeah, you go.
Wait.
No,
you go.
What, me?
Yeah, you go. Sorry.
I'll go. I'm glad. Thank you for giving the opportunity. I want to describe this in a way that is clear to you, Felicia, that the Skeletor, who's turning now in your direction, doesn't see, for some reason, Trixie flying around looking quite, normal and everything else, wrestling with her stuff. No, you are completely in his attention. He is fixed on you. And I do a terrible Skeletor impression, if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What have you done, you pint-sized pipsqueak? You're ruining my plans! So, he levels the Havoc Staff in your direction, and a gout of this violet-purple lightning comes out from that and in your direction. So, let's see what I get to do here. Skeletor. This is Cosmic Skeletor, by the way. He's
Is he silver and bald?
No, he's going that way. He's got gold. His skull face is gold at the moment, and he's got all this energy cracking around him. A little bit less energy now because you took out one of his pylons, so he's not very happy with that. But he is going to try to ensnare you in this energy and keep you from doing anything else. Rather than blast you and knock you down, he wants to bind you up. So,
because he knows her name is Festina.
He doesn't seem to care who you are. You're inconsequential to him, but you've done something bad, and he wants to take care of it right away. So I'll be rolling my magic, and let's see what else I get. He's an evil lord of cosmic destruction is one of his distinctions, but another one of them is suffer no fools, and he doesn't like that on you, so he's going to use that one. His Havoc Staff gives him another D10, and he's using sorcery. All right. Now you should all be able to see that I did a fantastic job here by rolling another hitch.
Yay!
However, I did get to roll a total of 10. Do you have more power dice? You don't have. You still haven't got any, do you?
I just went. Okay. I just went.
Spend
and it was
them if
worth
you got
it.
'em.
It was worth it.
I have one.
Yes.
Can
Well,
we
let's give it to Phil this time. Do you want to activate this to get an asset for yourself, or do you want to let your poor furry friend He-Beast take the asset this time?
I'll let He-Beast do it because I'm too busy doing whatever it is I'm doing. I'm in a hurry.
All right.
I'm just seething seeing Skeletor, and especially a more powerful version of him. So I'm just seething there, and I'll definitely spend it for that.
Right, you spend that die, and you're going to get a D6 asset, Adam. Which, what are you going to describe? What's helping you here now? What is it that you've got extra help? Is it the sort of...
It really is just a complete and total vendetta that I have against Skeletor because he has done me wrong for decades, and it doesn't matter if this isn't my Skeletor. I want to destroy him.
Makes sense. All right, now because I got a 10. And my effect die is a D8. Nothing happens yet because we want to see what Trixie can do in opposition. So Festina. Felicia, you get to roll a reaction the way that I've been doing so far with all my rolls.
Okay.
You pick together your dice, the ones that you think are appropriate.
Okay.
And then you roll and try and beat me. This is what you're doing in response.
Okay, so and he's hitting me with with the staff, a ray from the staff, or what exactly is hitting me?
Like a crackling purple bolt of lightning, but it's like the power proton packs with the Ghostbusters. It's like this thing. He's trying to ensnare you at the end of it.
Okay.
Electro bondage.
Okay,
We won't really go there, but yes, it's like.
Can I try to dodge and is he close to me?
No, he's.
Oh boy. So I got to dodge. There's nothing else I got. I got to dodge.
Okay.
Because I don't really have anything to reflect I don't think I can reflect this thing from one of my fists, right?
Or
I
your
tried.
foot.
Of my foot, exactly. Listen, it's so dirty. Listen, it's just you can't get through there. The callus is literally armor. Okay, so I guess I will have to use mobility to get away because I really don't. So I'm gonna dodge. So I'm gonna use mobility.
Yep.
And I'm going to use. Can I use leap into action even though I'm trying to leap out of the way of the action?
Well, you're leaping into a different kind of action. Sure.
Exactly. So I think that works best here. My abilities, leaping. Listen, if I can't leap out of this, I got a lot of leaping. And, I don't think my fist weapons apply here. So I
Alas.
think that, alas, exactly. Unless I can leap and try to hit the cage that's around Zodak. That wouldn't
No,
probably
not
work.
from this distance.
Not from this distance? Okay.
Yeah, not
All right.
with a reaction. No.
So I think this is all I got. I got mobility, leaping, and leap. So here we go. Roll. And I got a D8 as my effect, and I rolled a 12. Not bad.
You actually beat him. That's so. So the bolt comes down, but you see it coming. But you know how everything in these things is so slow. It's not like instant. Like,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you were still standing on top of the platform, the pylon where the globe was.
Oh yeah.
And now you leap clear, and instead of that, he actually zaps his own pylon. It's now curses.
Try it again.
I am also going to reveal that. No, I won't do that right now. That's going to happen next.
What?
Come on, you can't do
I'll
that.
keep that in my back pocket. Adam,
Worst tease ever.
Are you my dad?
He-Beast goes next. That's what I'll choose. He-Beast to go last in the order.
All right, so He-Beast is going to turn back around to the portal where we just emerged, and he whistles really, really loud. I won't do it on the microphone. And you see that a golden armored griffin burst through the portal, and He-Beast is already moving as he does it, and he runs and leaps on top of the back of the griffin, and he starts to kind of scruff its feathers, and he welcome Biff, and so as Biff takes off, you see that He-Beast puts his clawed hand to his head, and you see just these ripples, circular, cartoonish looking ripples coming out of his head, and then he just calls out and he says, "Come close, creepy carrion creatures of Castle Grayskull." And he is trying to get all the bats in the area to start swarming around Skeletor at this point, and then he is flying straight, charging with Biff, his griffin, at Skeletor, and he pulls out the kind of hilt of his whip that houses the amulet of He that turns him into He-Beast, and he just simply hits a button, and you see this electrical energy, and the whip comes out, and he just cracks it in the air as he's charging at Skeletor.
That's awesome, Adam. So that's going to be an attack using the bats, which now are emerging from around these sort of rocks that are floating. They were hiding before because they didn't want to get involved in this mess. But the power of He-Beast has summoned them forth to do his bidding. So let's put together your dice pool.
All right, am I getting to attack this time?
Yeah, you're going to
right.
attack with these things.
I'm going to, with them, should I possibly, so am I attacking Skeletor with my whip or with the creatures?
No, with the creatures. But
Okay,
I
got
will
it.
allow you to use Biff as your asset because you're using him to fly forward and...
Got it. All right, so we're going to say magic.
Put it on a show here, Adam. I think it's fine to use that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am a Lord of Beasts,
Absolutely.
and so I'm going to use that distinction as well. And I am using my animal control ability that I have to pull these bats to distract Skeletor. And finally, I'm going
What's
to
your
use...
affinity here?
The affinity. I'm using magic. I could use might because maybe I'm intimidating these bats. Does that work?
I like your first...
Okay.
suggestion.
All right, we're going to
That's
go
a
with
lower
magic.
number.
It's worse, and I'm going to go with it. because we worked that out with our narrator. All right, and so then Griffin Steed for Biff here. I'm using that as my asset since I'm flying closer to these bats to control them, and I'm going to roll the dice here. And this looks pretty good so far. So I got a total of 12, and my effect die is a d6.
Okay. So for the uninitiated, that's going to mean that if you do affect him, it's going to give him a d6 complication as he's worried about all these bats getting in his way. However, I get to make my reaction against that because he's not going to take that bat control thing lying down. Let's put together my dice pool. Clear that roll out. All right, so he's using mobility to get out of the way, or trying to sort of wave them off and get in the way. Here, again, suffer no falls is his distinction that he's using in this case.
He's just really trying to make me mad.
Yeah, he's swinging around his Havoc staff to try and deflect the bats. But he doesn't get to use his sorcery. Well, maybe he can to defend himself. We'll go with it.
He needs all he can get.
Yep, he does.
Yeah. Is bat repellent considered sorcery?
Now, Adam, what did you roll? What was your...
It was a 12 and a d6 effect die.
I beat it by 1.
No.
Swings it around, and then his glowing red eyes lock on the figure flying towards him on the bat. And he shouts out, "Beast man, you fur-brained fool!" And then he swings his staff around and the bats clear out. Now, they're still around, flying around, and you can use them again for stuff later, but for the time being, he's driven them off, so your attack wasn't necessarily successful. But you are now going to be approaching in range to use your whip.
That's where I wanted to be. So hopefully he's paying attention to me, and I would like to see Hypernus go next.
So we're starting over from the next sequence. So top of the round will be Hypernus. Yes, you can go make your choices.
Oh, it's got to be, because I'm the fastest. I'm always going to go first. All right. And I'm also highly competitive, so I'm a little irked that everybody else is getting shots at Skeletor, and I haven't yet. So I'm going to attack Skeletor with my laser glaive.
Okay, so you're going to leap. You're going to run up to attack Skeletor from where you're at?
Well, my laser glaive works as a laser rifle, so I don't think I need to.
Yes. Yes. It's almost like a sniper shot. You can
Exactly.
attack with it.
Wait, should I share my screen?
No.
No?
I think we got it.
Yeah, we got it.
Excellent. So, yes, I'm going to use...
Which affinity do you think this is going to be using?
I'm trying to think if it's mystery or machines. I guess, no, it's not mystery. It has nothing to do with mystery. It's machines.
Yep, that's technology, using a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And as far as distinctions, it's my competitive nature. So let's race for it.
Okay.
And obviously I'm trying to get this shot off as quickly as possible, before Skeletor knows it's coming. So can I use my super speed ability?
You can, and one of the fun things about this is that any justification you want to come up with for these things is fine with me. Using super speed is perfectly appropriate because it's also the only one that would probably work in this case.
Exactly. And obviously with the assets, this will be using the laser glaive.
Correct.
All right. So got 4 die in there. And rolling. Is it time to roll?
It is. Go for it.
I rolled a 12 with a D8 effect.
Okay. He doesn't really know necessarily that you're doing this because you popped around the side. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here. I will just roll on the Havoc pool instead of his actual stats. So you're almost doing this without even him being aware of it. So the only difficulty that you have to face is the general ambient difficulty of the scene. So
Okay.
he does have 5d6 in there, though, I think.
Ooh.
5d6.
What? It's not
Everyone's
right.
giving him all the havoc pool dice.
I gave him one die. I will
All
never
your
live
fault.
this down. It was a baller move, okay? All worth it. Say it to my face, Hebe. Say it to my face.
The good news
think I
is,
just did.
For Hypernus, the good news is that I only got an 11 as my total.
Yes.
And I have to beat you. I can't just get equal to or a little bit less. I have to beat you. Now, here's another occasion where what I could do, and this is what did you roll? Was it 12?
12. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to actually spend a die from my Havoc pool, which reduces it to 4 dice, in order to include one of my other rolls, which means I add that 3 to get a 14. So, yes, now, it makes me a little bit weaker, but I can take it for right now. Your shot goes a little bit off wild, and it's only because at the very last minute, the sound of your laser glaive is reached Skeletor's ear, and he went, "What?"
Ears.
Well, yeah.
Holes.
His holes.
His holes.
Hypernus, you foolhardy Fleetfoot! You can't get a shot at me! And he just ducks quite out of the way, and the shot goes wild.
Damn it.
Good try, though. Very good try, because he almost missed. All right, so let's see. Hypernus, who do you want to go next?
Oh, we don't go in the same order?
No, all new order.
Let's see. Has anybody actually landed a hit?
Yeah, I totally saved the day. I did the ballerous move. Hey, come here. Say it to my face.
I did too.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Electricity
Wow.
hit. All right. Electricity
Hypernus
will
is
go
the
again.
worst. Oh.
I didn't know we could campaign for who goes next.
I mean, I feel like that's what you have to do sometimes.
Right?
Can you tell us what does the scene look like right now? I know we have the one globe that's been destroyed. The other one's still fully lit up. And is the prison, like, is the cage still fully intact and everything? Because that globe is out.
So let's catch you up a little bit. We've got Hypernus over on one pylon. His pylon is still intact. He hasn't done anything to it yet. He's been taking pot shots at Skeletor. The one over that you're near, which is the one that you attacked first and that Festina jumped on, that's taken out. You know, there's no lightning going from that to the cage anymore. So Zodak still is being kept prisoner up there and held in place by the energy coming from the other pylon. And Skeletor is, like I said, he's flying around making attacks on people and trying to use his staff to do things. But ultimately, that's the picture. Now, again, there are all of these. There's bats flying around now. There's smaller rocks that are looping around and doing different things. But that's the general gist of it. You've got one more pylon to take out if you need to.
Okay.
get Zodak
So Electricity has been taking everything in, and as she's about to go make her moves, she looks over at Festina, and they do their best friends high five. Like Electricity goes over and like melts some of the glass in her hair just to be nice, so it gets it out for her. And then I am going to try what I did on the first pylon over to the second one, because I saw how much Hypernus's move to go at Skeletor failed, and I want to free someone and prove to everyone that Gar are good people now, that I can actually be a hero. So I'm going to use my magic again.
Okay.
And I will do my heroic mastery of electricity.
Perfect.
And I will again do my electrokinesis. And my Thunder Surge staff. And how does so I know the last time I have the angry thing in mind now.
Yeah,
How
I
does
get
that-
to use your angry die will be in my pool because it's making it harder for you, right?
Okay.
But
Okay,
you've got,
so-
I think do you still have two or one? You've got one power die left.
Yes, I do.
You've got this thing under your Thunder Surge staff called Overcharge, which you might want to think about using. And what that does is you give me that die, that power die, but by doing so, you can either step up or you can double your actual electric blast or electrokinesis ability dice. You can double it or step it up, which means either put 2 of them in the pool instead of just one, so 2d8, or you can turn it into a d10.
I think let's do 2d8.
Okay. So you get to add it in twice. I think you can pull in an extra dice from the chooser there. Lets you.
I just drag in another d8 over here.
Yep.
Does that look right on my chart or on my gameplay sheet? You can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa, guys, I'm rolling 5 d8s right now. Just letting
Sweet.
Woo-hoo!
Okay.
You better break 10.
Seriously. Seriously.
She could not. I mean, technically,
Hey,
easily.
hey, you're my best friend.
I'm your bestie, okay?
Yeah.
Now,
Never
the
clean
one
my
other
hair
thing
again.
about the overcharge, when you do this, when you roll, you take the highest rolling dice out of the pool before you add them up, but you get to add 3 dice together for your pool, for your total, instead of just 1. This is really good.
Okay. So I'm gonna roll.
Yep.
Let's see what happens.
And it's not going to automatically get your total yet because you'll have to just manually do a little math to add that extra die.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So I have to do math now? That's what
Yeah, a little bit of math. It's early alpha, folks.
So I rolled and have 12 and then I take the highest of my other.
Now you take the highest, the 2 dice that are in there for your total.
Yep. So 12.
What are those 2? What are the numbers? That's
8 and 4. I'm
okay.
at 12.
Drag the 8 out.
Okay.
But then add another one that isn't the 8 into your pool, and then 2 dice actually. So you should have 3 dice in there. Take the 8 out and add 2 more in there that you've got that weren't used otherwise.
Okay.
And if it doesn't let you do that, just add up those 3 dice.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
The aforementioned math.
So I'm 1 less. I rolled, so it's 11.
Okay. Awesome. So, and that's with 3 dice added together, right?
Yes, 3 dice added together.
Yeah, overcharge is good if all your dice roll high, then you can take one of them out and then you add 3. But sometimes, like, you got 4 and an 8, which the 8 was pretty much useful, but that's fine. And I'm going to roll this thing. It's the same thing as I did before, but I get less because I spent one of them.
Right.
But I do get to add in that angry, which is D6, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it's still 5 dice. Bump, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. And I get 12. And I got a hitch.
Oh.
Wait.
That's a shame.
Oh, I feel
it's
so
like
bad
kind
for
of
you.
bad because you got higher than me, but the hitch did.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna let it slide this time. I don't think that it's fun to keep having you get in the way, but I will let someone buy that hitch if you want it. The thing that I didn't tell you is I don't have to add the 2 best dice. I can pick 2 of the ones that I want. So I'm going to make that a 6 and a 3 and make it 9.
I don't have any more PowerPoints, so Hypernus have at it.
Yeah,
I'll
Hypernus,
take it.
do it.
Hypernus, you get an extra asset, a D6 asset you can use in your rolls. And what do we want that to be? What is it that has happened here that's given you an additional advantage?
Let's see. What has happened here that's given me an additional advantage?
Well, Electricity's during the whole blue lightning against green, purple lightning effect she did last time, trying to wrestle this globe and control it. So you're seeing that she's helping you.
Okay. So what does that mean, Ken?
Oh, what it means is that we can come up with what this dice means. This dice could be, she's weakening it a bit for you next time you want to do something, or a little bit like what happened with Festina and Electricity.
Oh, the best friends. Yeah. So, I feel like this has given me a greater affinity for this power that's coursing. I'm now focusing in on what that is, and I feel like I can tap into it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. You might be able to sort of bring it into you next time to help your speed.
Exactly.
So we'll just make a note that you've got that D6 asset of focused, and then we'll go on to this. So Tiffany, since I chose to roll terribly for you and make that decision, I'm going to let you have.
My 4 damage.
Yes, it was a D4. What was the die that you rolled for your effect?
I believe it was an 8d8, but I got 4.
Okay. Well, the number you roll on doesn't matter because all we
Oh.
use for the effect is actual die type. Yeah. So bonus. And that was all I already had left to keep itself from being too good. So one more hit on this. This is like what happened last time. You weakened it so someone else can can make it go up. So the pylon is kind of like surging, and you've got that, and you've controlled it. And this is a really useful thing that you're doing, though. Trixie is just restraining the power so someone else can get a chance to do something about it. It's so beneficial and altruistic of you to do that.
It's true. I do this
And
every
somebody
minute.
comes in and kill steals.
Right?
So that's right. Who do you want to go next, Tiffany?
I will allow my best friend to go next.
I'm like, thanks for the prep, Trix. And then I do my baller move again. I'm going to do my punch move again. Because even though Skeletor's in front of me, well, he's far away, so I can't reach him. I can't do anything. Well, I got to get this pylon down. So I'm like, I'm going to do another leap punch. So I'm going to roll might. I'm going to roll leap into action. I'm going to roll leaping. I wish I had a power die, but somebody won't give me any. And I'm going to roll
So
salt.
let me give you I'll give you an option here, actually,
Yeah.
Felicia.
Yeah, well.
One thing you can do with your distinctions, you see it's got D8 or D4
Yeah.
plus.
Oh, I can use a D4 and get a power. No, because if we were playing another hour, yes, I would do that, Cam. But I know that we're not, and so I'm gonna blow it all now. I'm gonna go, shoot, there it is, and then I'm gonna leap.
Kara
And
says
then I
you
get-
sized half-wit.
And then I roll a 13 with a D8, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. I don't think
Thanks.
I can even top that. Let's see.
Yay!
And I roll. And since I don't have the benefit of a complication against you like I did with Trixie, I only get 4 dice here. And that doesn't give me anything more. Oh, I got 11. That's not enough, is it?
It's not good enough.
No.
Not good enough.
Nope. Smash! It's like deja vu or whatever.
Festina
Nice.
the Pylon Slayer.
I know.
Right?
Look at me. And then I go,
Now-
ow, I stepped on some glass.
Did you even feel that?
No. This is why
Um,
I don't use a pumice stone.
Both of the pylons have been destroyed. The globes have gone, and the energy that was flooding into Zodak's cage has gone. Now, I think we're looking at our time. We're kind of coming up on the outside of what we can do here, but I'll just describe this in a quick way for you. When Zodak is freed, he suddenly gathers his wits together and sees that he's got help. He's got friends. There are people who are helping him. Perhaps it is time to just seize the power back. And he reaches his hands up, and he's very mysterious, strange-looking guy, but he's very cool. No one gives him enough credit. It pulls his lightning power back from the Skeletor. Skeletor says, "No, you've done it again, you fumbling fools!" And you see the powerful cosmic energy he was gaining has dissipated from him. And before he is attacked brutally, most likely from He-Beast, he uses his last remaining bit of power and teleports out of there. And yes, and Biff flies right through the space where he would otherwise be. So, having freed Zodak and actually having forced him away, you brought down the barriers that were keeping the rest of the Masters of the Universe from coming in here and doing what they needed to do. But you get the benefit of having Zodak thank you personally, and the Sorceress herself also appears, so it's quite a good party of congratulations, high fives all around.
All right. Thanks a lot, Cam. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Well done from everybody. Thank you all out there for seeing the very first gameplay of Legends of Grayskull here on the stream. We're going to say farewell to our special guest here today, but then Cam and I are going to hang out for all the questions that we've been collecting throughout the panel to answer those for the rest of our time together. But I'm going to go around our virtual table here again and let our guest talk about what they've got going on and talk about where you can find them on the internet. Felicia.
Yes, you can find me at Felicia Day anywhere, and I do a lot of Twitch streaming. In fact, tomorrow night I will be doing the Guild RPG with my fellow Guild people. If you guys remember that show, yeah, and we did a total party kill last week, so that'll be an interesting one tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at twitch.tv/Felicia Day. So come by.
And Tiffany.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Tiffany_Smith. I shot a web series during quarantine that will be coming out soon. I'm really excited about it. Crazy filming at home. And of course, keep your eyes out for everything that you can possibly see about Revelation when that's coming out. Hopefully more info soon. And the moral of today's game is help out your friends, everyone, because that's how you defeat evil.
Just like the old cartoon. And Phil.
Love it.
Hey, all my stuff is up at @PhilLaMarr on Twitter, on Instagram, and PhilLaMarr.com is where I'll be posting all sorts of appearances. Next week, a group of us from Justice League are going to be at Mainframe Comic-Con, virtually speaking, and be doing more episodes of Craig of the Creek on Cartoon Network, and of course playing Hero in Masters of the Universe Revelation. So,
outstanding.
Trying to keep busy.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. These special guests are incredible. Be sure to check out all the things that they have going on. Thank you all for joining us today. Cam and I are going to hang around, but let's say farewell to everyone else. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you. This was so fun. Bye.
All right. Cam, I think it is just us at this point, and we're going to go and start checking out some questions. That was yeah, that was pretty fun, especially for the first time. I think that's the first time that a cohesive game has been played of Legends of Grayskull. So, because we are in very early days at this point. So yeah, lots and lots of fun. I am collecting questions now. We're gonna send them into our special little thing here, and we'll see how this goes. Let's see if it works. Ooh, it worked. This is incredible. All right, so let's get into the questions. This is from Charles. As there are many cartoons and comics about Masters of the Universe with different flavors, such as the original 4 mini comics that had more sword and sorcery style flavor, to the classic Filmation cartoon with Legends of Grayskull, have any specific rules to allow gameplay to portray those genres been formed? So I'm going to take the first part of this, and then Cam, if you have anything to add, by all means jump in. But what we are trying to do with Legends of Grayskull, and one of the reasons that the multiverse, my ears are falling out, sorry. One of the reasons that the multiverse is really, really important to what's going on with this game is we are attempting to capture whichever flavor of Motu you want to play with your group. So if your group is really, really into a more Filmation style of content, you can absolutely do that. If you're more into something more recent, Princesses of Power kind of content, you will be able to use the rules, and they will be modifiable, and we will provide advice for how to play inside those different types of flavors. Or if you're wanting to play something that is closer to some of the upcoming content, whether it's Revelation or anything else that's coming out for the Masters franchise. And we do intend to have specific products that will focus more than some other products, maybe on specific instances of those different kinds of flavors. So yes, the plan is we want to capture all of it in order for you to do what your group really, really wants to do. Cam, anything to add there?
No, I think that what really appeals to everybody about Motu is just being able to tell your own stories, and the flavor of those stories is going to depend on what your friends and you like. Putting a sense of humor into it is, as we saw today, just fun and easy. But you know, it's up to you. You decide what levels of maturity and humor and good-natured bashing of Skeletor that you want. I think that you've said otherwise pretty much all we got. That's our vision for it, is a whole spectrum of Motu.
Just a quick note. So I know many people have talked about this in the past. I've talked to Rob David about this as he was writing the foreword for the compendium for Masters of the Universe. And he talks about how Motu is this living myth, and that we all had, if we played with those action figures back in the day, we all had a headcanon for what was going on with those toys. And so, fun fact, even He Beast, as I was playing that character today, He Beast is actually a creation that I came up with when I was about 5 or 6 years old, because I used to watch the cartoon and get so upset at the bullying that Skeletor did with Beastman. And so these little scenarios that I used to play out on my parents' sofa really were things that I could end up doing, and became the headcanon for a little 5-year-old boy. And so that is something that's really, really important for this game, is that you can play those classic characters as is, or you can jump into customizing them or creating entirely new characters who perhaps possess the power, or who are becoming masters of the universe in their own right, similar to He Soul and Platino and some of these great new characters that we've seen coming out as well. So it really is going to be wide open, and you can find the experience that you want to play in the middle of all that. All right, Troy, Cam, I'm going to let you answer this one. Will there be a difficult learning curve for someone who has never played a tabletop RPG before?
Yeah, good question. We're going to make it as easy as possible for new players to get up to speed. Like any role-playing game, there's a little bit of time where you get, no pun intended, some mastery over the rules. And in this case, we're not going to be having people take on too much at one time. There'll be some basic information, some basic rules. We'll show you through it. A little bit of hand-holding for those people who really need a bit of guidance. But no, it won't take you too long. I mean, as you saw today, nobody had played that game before. They were quickly getting the hang of putting together dice pools, rolling dice. The only math we even use in the game is adding. That's on purpose, because I don't like to do complicated math, because I'm, not a math person. So I think it should be something you can pick up. And really, I think the other side of this that we want to try and focus on too, if you've got a situation where someone's bought the game and they've got younger brothers or sisters who want to play it, we love the idea of mentorship. We love the idea of generational handing down this sort of fandom to kids and so on. And so we want it to be something where we can do that too. We want it to be something where you can teach the game, shouldn't take too long, and just have a really good time.
Yeah, I personally cannot wait to play Legends of Grayskull with my sons. And so I run a lot of Dungeons and Dragons for kids, their friends. And so something like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and She-Ra, these are great characters that meant so much to me as a kid. And again, there's so much in store for the franchise. Really, really looking forward to how we go forward from here, and all the new fans who are going to be coming into it. And this game is going to be a really, really great place for those new fans to connect with Masters of the Universe. All right, so we got several questions here that I think we probably have already answered in the perhaps long-winded response to the first question, but it's things about Princesses of Power. Again, we're going to provide a framework that you can play any kind of flavor that you want to within Masters of the Universe. Can you play as He-Man? Yes, you absolutely can play as He-Man, or a customized different version from another Eternia of a He-Man, or an entirely new character who has discovered or acquired the power of Grayskull for themselves. So all of that is going to be possible. Bob, will the game come with the classic characters written up for us? So I'm going to jump in super quick here, Cam, and then if you have anything to add, for sure, jump in too. But one of the things that we are, we're going to have probably somewhere around a 250 page page count for the initial product. And I do say initial, we plan for several products to come out in Legends of Grayskull. So we will have to be a little choosy about exactly what goes into that first book. One of the best ways to think about this for us, especially if you're thinking about the different kinds of canons that have come before this, whether that is what's going on with Filmation, whether that is the original mini comics, whether that is the classics canon that evolved as part of that toy line. There are different types of stories being told. And for Legends of Grayskull, this is also intended to be the case that when we get together for story related content and for organized play, especially, which is a big part of our plans and what we want to do with this game, all of that is going to follow its own canon and its own sandbox in order for tables to be able to, kind of be the heroes and play through that content in the way that they want to. And so I could see one of these days updates to the compendium being made, and there would be a Legends canon that's happening there. But again, the core game itself would be able to play that Legends canon as we're presenting it. So, He-Man might be presented as what he would be within that canon, Tila, and so on, all those beloved characters. But you also, again, can play any of those other types of canon that you'd want to within the game. All right, let's see. Lots of can you play as He-Man, so we will skip over some of that.
I will interject quickly too, Adam. Several levels of He-Man too. I mean, the whole point of the mastery paths is we could actually allow you to play, or give the option to play He-Man at certain tiers. So the really cool, awesome Cosmic King Adam He-Man is something you can easily handle with the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about mastery paths. I doubt a question like that came in because people don't know what they are yet. But let's talk just a little bit about what we know about mastery paths at this point.
Yeah, mastery paths. Each of the characters you saw today had 2 of them, and what they are kind of like achievement tracks, if you want to put it that way. If skill trees too, in some ways too. They are tied to your affinities. And the affinities that start out the game, the 2 best ones you've got, will each unlock a mastery path for each. And so potentially you could, if you spend enough time and focus doing it, and your narrator wasn't a total jerk, get more mastery paths unlocked so that your character become quite flexible in what they can do and how they advance. We really wanted this idea of you growing your character and becoming more of a master of the universe. And so the way we chose to do that is to let you follow on and focus on the kinds of fun things you want the character to do. Every character in the universe is quite distinct and unique, but they all do seem to fit into sort of groups, following magic, following machines, but not just one. We do like the idea of spreading it out a bit.
Well, and I think we've talked about this a lot, but we love the idea of being able, the first conversation I ever had with Mattel as we were talking about what became Legends of Grayskull was how we would love to see a way for the game to capture the idea of your Duncan, but you become Man-at-Arms, or you're Keldor and you become Skeletor. And so all of that is going to be possible inside the game as well, and these mastery paths are going to support that.
Yep.
All right, CJ is asking, when will this be available and where can we purchase this? So we can't give out any specific dates at this point in time. We can tell you that it is targeted for next year. So a year is a big bucket of time there, but it is targeted for 2021. And when it becomes available, we will let you know when pre-orders are up, and we will let you know when public playtesting starts. So that's a time where for free you can try out the game and give us feedback about the game, because we obviously want to make sure that we find the most fun that we possibly can for the game itself. So playtesting will be part of that. You can sign up at legendsofgrayskull.com to be notified as soon as any of that is available. But it is targeted for 2021, and you will be able to buy that at all of the hobby and book channels that you can typically get books or games, or your local game store, Amazon, and so on. What else? Lots of duplicates that I'm trying to skip through here. Let's see. Okay, let's try this one. Matthew, can you play as hero or villain? Can both be used during the same game? What are your thoughts there, Cam?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it depends on who you're playing with. If you've got friends who really want to try and do kind of a villain-centered one, even someone like Skeletor has to turn around and fight Hordak at some stage in the saga. So I think that the freedom to do that is possible. I like to look at it in terms of heroes and villains are both maybe protagonists sometimes in stories, but I also look at things like friends and foes. And so if you're playing someone like Skeletor, you have your own problems to worry about. And so, I think we're tending in the playtesting, especially, we're going for the heroic masters, but there's nothing about them. I mean, even, I don't know if you were listening in on the stuff I was doing with Skeletor. I made him up in about 10 minutes, and he's a full character. So, perfectly playable. And if your table wants to do that, then yeah, more power to you.
Yeah, I think another really important thing to call out here is again, this is intended as a series. We plan for multiple products to be released. And so, if there is demand in the community for that kind of content that is leaning a little more evil warrior in its nature, then we could possibly even see some type of content that is centered around that, whether it's a full book release for that or a digital only kind of content release that can provide some guidance for narrators and players as they try to play through that kind of content. We've got a good one here that is Jesse. Will there be branded dice and other accessories for this release? So initially, this is a really important distinction for what's going on with Legends of Grayskull. We are going to be creating a tabletop role-playing game that will have a hardcover book as a core game handbook that will, again, and then there will be follow-up products to that. So this is something that you can play with pen and paper, just like any tabletop role-playing game out there. But one of the things that we are doing, Fandom as a company, we operate D&D Beyond, and which is the official digital tool set for Dungeons and Dragons, and we will end up having something. You saw a little bit of the prototype here today on the stream. Again, this is super, super early stuff. But the digital support for this game is a key part of what's going on with Legends of Grayskull. And you will be able to build characters, track characters, play characters really, really easily as part of the game. You'll be able to connect to others through sessions in the game to be able to play through this digital interface. And it's going to make things far more convenient than you're probably used to for a lot of these kind of games. And so we're really excited about that part. One of the things that is going to be coming is digital dice. So you might have seen some of those bouncing across the screen on the stream today, but we will have dice sets that you can collect that are themed with characters and other types of concepts within the Masters of the Universe setting. And so all of those will be available. At this point in time, I saw some questions about miniatures and physical dice. Those are not planned at this point in time. We'll see what happens in the future, but we are introducing that digital support portion of this, which is a very key and important part of Legends of Grayskull. I like this one, Randy. Will there be maps of the planet? How thick is the main book? As I said a little earlier, we're targeting somewhere around 250 pages likely, is again just right now the really, really rough idea of what we're doing. It may be more, it may be less. And we do intend to have some maps in there. It wouldn't be an RPG book without maps. And so the maps are going to be a key part of that. And we're hoping that we can do some fun things with those maps. So we'll keep you posted. Let's see.
Also, we wouldn't want to tell you how to run your own Eternia. So if you wanted to change that stuff up, go for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's. I'll let you take this one, Cam. Victor, what features of Legends of Grayskull set it apart from other Cortex games?
Well, it's early playtesting, early internal playtesting, so we're still figuring a bunch of that out. But I think the main thing that really is different about this and other ones that I've done before is the idea of mastery paths and really being able to develop your character along certain advancement sort of tiers. That kind of thing I'm really excited by, because I think it really does show some kind of, it's a bit of a nod to the idea of levels from other games, but it isn't quite the same because it's completely choice driven and you get to unlock more things. I think otherwise, other than that, there's the idea of the affinities as a new thing. They're a little bit like skill groups in some ways, but what I really like about them is that it gives us a way to try and put some attention on areas that would otherwise be left to just, in between stuff. Like, it's not all fighting; it's also mystery and magic and mischief. So that's the biggest takeaway I would have from this. Also, huge thing too. No plot points. Cortex normally has plot points. We've taken them out of the game entirely and replaced them with power dice, which was a huge shift. And one of those sacred cows I thought I would never take out the back and do things. But this time we've gone with that. So I think it's going to be exciting to see how that works out in playtest.
All right, Actor Clown. Are all the classic characters' powers represented in the game, like Mudgelock or Men Faces, etc.? So, yes, that is a very important part of what we're doing, and it's one of the things that Cortex is really great at. Having powered the previous version of Marvel heroic role playing and so on, superpowers and those kinds of abilities are well represented in the core rules system. And so the answer is, whether we end up seeing the hundreds of characters that have been available throughout all the toy lines in the past, fully 100% represented as far as statistics goes, that is probably doubtful. But you can rest assured that we are going through that list and making sure that the abilities and powers that those characters have are represented in some shape, form, or fashion for you to be able to, again, play the fantasy and the role play with those characters that you want to do.
Yeah. Be the mechanic you can be, is what I think.
That's it. Everybody wants to be Mechanic. And so, that is a power, that's an ability that is stretching, that has the limit of neck only, that kind of thing. So it definitely can be accomplished within the system, and we're taking a very, very big focus on that to make sure that you can do what you want to do. William, unrelated topic. Which line do you all love the most? And so I'll go here. And Cam, you can definitely share if you want to. I love the original line because of all the nostalgia. I've got several of them on the shelf behind me here. For whatever reason, when I was 3 years old, I don't know why I did this, but I chewed their hands. It's like they were like soft plastic or something. And I guess I had some kind of complex maybe, but yeah, I chewed their hands. So a lot of my originals are not in the best shape, but they hold a very special place in my heart. And then, finally, I will say that I love the Origins line that is coming out right now. Like, they really are completely knocking it out of the park. Really, really love what I'm seeing there. Cam, what about you?
I'm a huge fan of the. I liked the Mike Young stuff. I think that the period after the 2000s was interesting because people kept trying to reinvent how these characters look. But I mean, you can't go wrong with classics. I think that the style and the visuals of them was revolutionary at the time, and continues to stick in the minds of all kinds of people. And the fact that you can still, we're looking ahead to new figures and new approaches is what I'm most excited by. I think, other than that, though, I mean, like, I wasn't, when I was a kid, the Masters of Universe toys were that one thing I was not able to get because of the limitations of my parental permission. But when you're an adult, you can do anything you like. So I bought He-Man, Tila, and Skeletor recently, and I have them back on my shelf now. So take that.
There you go. You have made it now, Cam. All right. Got a couple of related questions here from Jesse. There is, will this be all digital, or can physical dice and sheets be used? And I touched on that a little bit earlier, but then also Bob is asking, are those character sheets just used for visual purposes? Is it part of the Cortex system? So the answer to that is yes. If you want to use physical character sheets that are maybe PDFs that you're filling out and printing, or that you're just simply printing and literally writing in the die ratings and so on, you will be able to do that. Yeah, so here are some Here's some physical character sheets that the cast was even able to use today. But the digital sheet is also going to be available, and something that if you want to, yeah, he beast, there he is. So if you want to use the digital or the paper, that option is going to be yours when the game releases. Michael, how comprehensive is the player's handbook for the game? We'll call that the game handbook. But so does it take vehicles into consideration, seeing as how they are a big part of the Motu brand? Yes, vehicles very much so are going to be talked about. Vehicles are very important to the brand and everything that's going on to Masters of the Universe for sure. So how would those, at least at a high level, work, Cam?
From a high level, they're assets, a lot like Biff was for He Beast. The Thunder Surge staff was an item. An asset can be all kinds of things, and one of them is an asset for a vehicle. And then we'll explore things. It's one of the things I want to try and do in playtesting is see how we can have vehicles whether people want them to be more involved, if they have to have lots of SFX to make them work good. But no, we're absolutely looking for that because it's a key part of the character. So who would we be without having a Barrel Ram and Wind Raider?
I completely agree. All right, trying to sort through some of the duplicates here. Let's see.
A lot of questions.
Yeah, lots and lots of questions. We really appreciate that. Let's see. So this is about the session, it looks like. Lissag 1979. If Skeletor is using something electric to attack Festina, couldn't Electrixie somehow take control of that and redirect the energy back at him? So maybe this is talking a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of the gameplay itself in the turn. So what are your thoughts there, Cam?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things you're able to do in the game, for two parts of this I think I'll talk about. One is you can give other players power dice for them to use as part of your helping them out. And you can describe that in any way you want. If you say, I'm going to help out Festina with a power die, what you're really almost saying is, I'm going to help out by using some of my magic and redirect it and maybe make it harder for him to do anything. The other side of it too is that you've got the ability when you're taking turn orders to see who goes first and who goes next. And as a team, as a party of players, you could say, okay, look, I'm going to set you up for this thing. I'm going to redirect this. Then it's your go. You'll do your thing. And that's what those assets are really useful for. You can create assets on your turn, hand them over to another player, and then they get a bigger pool of dice. So there's a lot of things you could do that would help out here. I'm always on board for cool stunts like that. I think that's what makes these sessions more fun.
All right, let's see. Trying to find, we had several other questions come in here, so just trying to find some that we haven't addressed. James, how has COVID affected development, if at all? So I would say that it has not impacted development of either, because we essentially have two parallel tracks that are going on with Legends of Grayskull. We have the game production side of this that is coming up with the rules and essentially what will become the game handbook and any of the other hardcover or content related parts of the series for Legends of Grayskull. That's one track and one path that's going on. And then we have the software side of that is developing a website and all of the digital tools that are going with it. And so I would say that the pandemic has not impacted the development on either side of those, too significantly, other than just the general, kind of attitudes and the feel of what's going on in the world. So naturally, we have had to transition to working from home, so everybody is not in the office at our company, and so some of the growing pains of that have definitely happened. But I would say at this point in time, it has not impacted anything too significantly. I also saw another question come through that I will briefly answer here. That was about, where are we in the development process and why is it taking until 2021? So one thing that I'll say there is we're saying 2021, We're not saying which part of 2021. Okay, so we're not saying that, and I'm not saying that to say you should expect it in Q1 or anything. But I am saying that we are definitely into development on this at this point in time. So we're not just starting right away. I think you could see that we've got some starting points already pretty well established, even in the stream and the demo that we did today. But the other part of that is that we want to play test this. And so we think that playtesting is a very, very vital part of any kind of game design. And so we want to make sure that we can get this to people in order for them to provide feedback and test it and make sure that everything is holding up properly. So that is a big part of the development cycle. And that's something that we're going to let everybody know about, where you can go in and try it and let us know what you think about the game as soon as that is available and possible. All right, let's see. Ultimore player manual art. Will it have art? You betcha. It's going to. I can't wait to start really digging into the art. Art is a major component of all tabletop role-playing games. I have literally bought hardcover books that I will never play because the group that I play with won't want to play that system or that game, based solely on the art that is available. So this is going to be an incredibly beautiful book, and I can't wait to get people to get this into the hands of the fans out there. And I do think that it's going to be really something based on just the artwork itself. So yes, art is going to play a very prominent role in what we've got going on here. And that, again, that goes way back with tabletop role-playing games, and we're going to make sure that we do something that's really impressive with that. Gary, instead of narrator, can we just make it castle master? What about it, Cam? Are we going to make it castle master?
Wait, the title. This is the thing that it's the little known aspect of game design is that part where you're trying to figure out what the game GM is called. In Cortex Prime, the sort of the generic version of this system, we call it a game moderator, because I didn't want to go ahead and say master is what you are, but it seems a little more useful in this setting to be that way. But what have we passed around? We've had the idea of the ancient as one of them, and right now it's the narrator. It's all up for further development, and obviously we'll take requests and pass them all along to Adam, who will field them entirely, and I will get whatever comes out of that that's good.
Yeah, so it is still work in progress, and we'll keep our eyes peeled and we'll dive in. We have used ancient for quite some time, but as we started internally playtesting that, people kind of felt like that was maybe saying that they were old and not maybe the way that that it actually plays out within the universe of Motu. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I saw one suggestion go by just there, narrator with a hyphen in it.
Narrator, yeah, of course. That is perfectly appropriate, and that's probably what's going to win. All right, so Tim is asking, will there be pre-made scenarios included in the rulebook for Legends of Grayskull? So talk a little bit about that one.
Yeah, we want to have it so that there's something in there to right from the beginning. If you want to get started just with the game handbook for Legends of Grayskull, there'll be a scenario. There'll be I'm not entirely sure how we're going to describe them. Are we going to call them legends? Who knows? But these adventures, I guess, there'll be at least one, if not more, and maybe even the hooks for more things. So we want you to get comfortable making up your own, but we do have this idea that we'll be providing that kind of pre-made stuff for you to get right into it.
All right, so again, trying to sort through several that we've probably answered already. All right, let's go with this one. So I'll kind of hit a few of these that are very related here. So again, Victor, what are the initial plans for supplements after the core rulebook? We're not ready to talk about those plans yet, other than to simply say that we do see the game handbook when it comes out as just the initial starting point. Now, we do see that product as if anyone is coming to the game in the future, they should have everything that they need to play at least, the core version of the game within that singular product. But we do fully plan and intend to have additional content. And again, this is where we won't talk the specifics yet, but kind of based on what Cam was talking about there with other types of adventure related or storyline related content. We might have content that is related, more specifically to some of the different flavors or iterations of what comes out of Masters of the Universe. So all of that is absolutely, we might have world source books, Eternia, Theria. So all of those are possibilities, and we do have plans, and those are just slightly outside of the horizon of anything that we would want to share at this point in time. But, the real key message here is this isn't going to be just a single book, and then we won't be creating anything after that. We do have plans to do much more content. All right, Chris, will this be playable without an app? Yes, as I was explaining earlier, you can do pen and paper. You can use the book or the digital, even just the digital PDF or the version that will be available. You can use that entirely by itself with some physical dice or anything else that you can use to represent dice. It doesn't have to use the digital part of this, but we do think that a lot of people will want to see this on the digital side of that. So lots of digital things. Okay, this is a good one. Kelly Smith, I've never played a tabletop RPG, but what is the min-max number of players? Cam, I'll let you handle that one.
Yeah, I've run tables of Cortex games for up to a dozen people, and I don't recommend that. That's a lot of people talking over each other. I think we've been kind of going for a sweet spot of around 4 players, maybe 2 players is the minimum, or just one. I mean, one narrator and 1 player if you want to get to that. But maybe up to 6. Once you get past 6, you start having it be a little bit more complicated. But everybody has their own way of dealing with it, and I think sometimes if you've got a really good rapport with all your friends and you don't mind taking turns, that's one of the reasons why I like the way we're doing the initiative order, is that you do have to be paying attention. So you don't want to just talk over each other and just sort of sit there and look at your phone the whole time. You're actively part of these stories. And so, yeah, it can handle a number of people.
All right, let's see. Okay. Yeah, so we had another question here from James. Will the game be playable with just 2 players? Absolutely. And in fact, I'll tease a little bit here. So this is pretty early, and we don't have all of the specifics worked out. But we are very interested in also having a solo play experience for this. So the idea being absolutely you can play this with other people around the table. You can play it with 2 people up to possibly a dozen people. I've played a game before with 14 people in it. Again, do not recommend that at all. The sweet spot is probably somewhere between 4 and 6 people around the table. But ultimately, we would love to be able to solve the problem of allowing people to play solo in some way as well, because we recognize, being in this space for a very long time, on the tabletop role-playing side, that the biggest barrier for entry is having a DM, GM, narrator that can facilitate that gameplay for you. So it's something that we're going to look for ways to possibly be able to supplement that and make it something that this could even be a solo experience. So I'm saying that at a super early level. It's something that we're actively talking about and trying to figure out how we're going to solve that problem. But it is something that we're going to try to do in some type of mode that we would try to provide in the future for Legends of Grayskull. Let's see. So let's do this one for both of us, maybe, Cam. So Adam, how old are you, and how did you get into the business? How dare you? I mean, obviously I'm like 20 25 or something, right? No, I'm knocking on death's door, but I did get into the business. In my former life, I was working. I live in Huntsville, Alabama, if you can't tell from the accent. And I was in defense and aerospace because Huntsville is the rocket city for a decade before I decided that that was a little too boring for me. And I went to work for a company called Curse that then was acquired by Twitch. And then later we were acquired by Fandom. And I was a co-founder for D&D Beyond. And so I've been working in the entertainment space and the gaming space for, I guess, 5 or 6 years at this point in time. And before that, it was government contracting, defense, and aerospace, and until I decided to have a little bit of an adventure. And so it's been a really, really wild ride since that time. D&D Beyond has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. We cannot wait to see what's happening with Cortex, and particularly what's happening with Masters of the Universe here with Legends of Grayskull. Cam, what is a little bit of a bio for you there?
Well, that's nice. I mean, yeah, I'm pushing a decade after you, and is that what we talked about?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what even is time.
1 foot in the grave, all of us.
Well, I've got 1 foot, 1 hand, and probably. I do have the benefit of living here in lovely, wintry New Zealand at this stage in my life, having spent 22 years in the US, which is where my lovely wife is from, and we raised our 2 boys there, and then we brought them all back to New Zealand in the last couple of years to be closer to family and for me to pursue my dream job, which apparently is to work from home on amazing licensed properties with a game system that I really, really love with awesome co-workers. No, I have been doing game design for some time, since the very early 2000s. Cortex Prime is the thing I'm probably most known for. But yeah, I just love it. I love the idea of developing games. I love capturing what really makes each IP or property or show or TV thing what it is, and getting really stuck into other people's creations and trying to do right by them is at the heart of what I do. And so this has been a dream for me so far, and continues to be, and will be for as long as they can put up with me.
Yeah, very excited to have you, Cam, for sure. So we've got, let's see, maybe time for 2 more questions. We're going to try 2 more questions, and then we're going to end the panel today. And I think this messed up just a little bit, but I'm going to try it. Let's see, where is the... okay, so we've got the name maybe a little wrong here, but speaking of art, are you using stills and previous art from Motu sources, or is the game handbook all original art? So I can tell you again, we are early in the process, but at this point in time, we are targeting entirely new original art. And we're doing that for a variety of reasons that I won't go into all of those at this point in time. But one of them is we would love to provide a very evergreen representation of these characters that really can be seen as something that can go across the different flavors that we've been talking about. And so we do intend for that to be original art. Again, I can't wait to start forming some of that art, and especially with the style that we're kind of targeting and going for. If you're a Motu fan out there, I have a feeling that you're really, really going to love what happens with the art in these products. And then finally, let's see. What area of the Motu mythos are you most excited to explore in development? So Cam, I'll let you go first.
I dropped a bit of it into this short demo, but I think Zodiac and the Cosmic Enforcers are completely underused. No, but I love those guys. I also am enamored with King Hiss and the Snake Men. I think that there's so many different kinds of things you can do in the world of Motu that it's fun taking little threads of things that haven't been explored a lot, and then sort of slowly weaving them into the living myth, as we called it before.
Yeah, it's really, really hard for me to choose a singular part of the mythos that excites me the most, but I definitely, I am definitely into the snake men, snake people. And you know, I would not be surprised if we see some storyline content associated with them in the future for this game for sure. But looking at all of those options, I think the part that I am most excited about is what we're seeing in the recent comic series with Masters of the Multiverse, and just the idea that there is a diverse and just infinite multiverse out there with all of these different options and all of these different characters. And again, that head canon that you had as a kid for what happens with those characters, that is something that you can play out at the table. And the idea that you can create your own canon as part of that is a really, really exciting concept for me. I remember the first time that I spoke to Mattel and we were trying to really pitch our vision for what's going on with this game. I used the ending panel spoilers for Eternity War number 15, if you haven't read that, so you can just close your ears for just a second here. But there's this wonderful, wonderful scene where King Adam at this point in time is working the forge in Castle Grayskull, and he turns to an unseen character, and that unseen character, is arriving, and and King Adam says, good, you're here. And he turns, and there's this new weapon that he's handing to someone that is unseen. And that very well could be me, that could be you, that could be anyone playing this game. And he says, you have the power. And that is this perfect jumping off point for any kind of tabletop role-playing game. And I'm really, really excited to explore this. We are over time. We're going to end the panel. Thank you all so very much for joining us today. We're terribly excited about Legends of Grayskull. Sign up at legendsofgrayskull.com for updates. We'll keep everyone posted. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all the places, and we'll also provide more and more details in the coming months for this exciting new game. Thanks, folks.